Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. My name is Joris and in this video I'm going to continue with my series about ETFs that invest in Europe and are European based. And in this part 2 I'm going to talk about ETFs that have a reference to the word quality in them. So in this video I'm going to talk about 6 of the 21 ETFs that I found that distribute an distribute a dividend and invest in European countries and are based in Europe. And if you know of any other European-based ETF that does that, please let me know in the comments down below. But make sure it's not a synthetic replicated one. You know that I don't like that type of funds. So I found 4 in total that do that, but I'm not going to mention them in any of the 5 videos that I'm going to make for this series. And in the previous video, I already mentioned the MSCI Europe ETFs. So there were 5 of them, and then I mentioned 2 others, of course. If you saw that video, thank you for watching that. And if you didn't already do that, please consider go and watch that video. Many other ETFs, they follow other indexes that they believe are better, but I'm always going to look at them from a performance and a dividend yield perspective, and also the total expense ratio I'm going to take into account. And just as for this video, where I'm going to discuss the 6 ETFs which have the word quality in their name, and whether or not it's quality dividend or quality stocks, that's a different topic altogether, but they have quality in their name, or Prime or Aristocrats. And Aristocrats, for me, that's also a reference towards quality, as the stocks that are Aristocrats in Europe, it means that they pay out a dividend for more than 15 years, and most of the time the dividend is rising as well. So it's more or less a reference to the quality of the stocks that are in it. I'm also going to give an overview of those 6 ETFs at the end of this video in the table, where I list all these things and order them according to their overall performance. And as you know, it's all based on the numbers and the prices and the performances that I gathered at the end of the trading day of the 26th of January of 2024. So I made these videos in the weekend, and I'm going to put them out the next 2 weeks so you can enjoy them. But always remember, it's from the 26th of January that these data are from. But like that, we can always compare apples to apples. So the first one, it's the FEUI or FEUI fund. So it has the ISIN code EA00BYSX4176 with a total expense ratio of 0.30%, so Irish based, and the name is Europe Quality Income from Fidelity. So quality is in the name, and that's why it is in this video. It's noted in Swiss francs on the SIX stock exchange, so if you saw the previous video, you know what that means for the performances that I'm going to show in a few seconds. But there are 82 companies in this fund, and only 15 million invested in this fund, so it's really low. But you know, I'm including all the ETFs that I find. So whether it's 1 million or 10 billion invested in it, I'm always going to mention the ETFs that I found, and it's a fully replicated one. And the performance over the past year, 12.27% up, and over 3 years, 23.88. And as you see, I refer to the bottom ones, so that's the performance in euro, but it's noted in Swiss francs, and that's the performance in Swiss francs. So you see the huge discrepancy, but the Swiss franc has gained a lot on the euro in the past 5 years, so it's normal that there is a huge difference between the performances then. And the dividend yields, so 3.63%, and it's paid out quarterly. So in February, May, August, and November, and these are the last year's dividends that were being paid out. So quite nice dividend yield, and the quality name in the ETF is certainly deserved. Another one that certainly deserves the denominator quality is the EGRW, also Irish based from WisdomTree, with a total expense ratio of 0.29%, based on the 6 in euro, and invested in 96 companies, but only 5 million invested in it. I'm going to give a bit of a rant right now, but I think European investors should invest much more into European countries and companies, and not put all their savings towards American companies. Certainly right now, when you see the PE ratios of American companies, they are on average way higher than the PE ratios of European countries. So the European companies should actually deserve the money from European investors, but still they are so USA oriented, because they say, yeah, the yield is there, but the yield is also present here in Europe. Don't forget about that. And when I see then such a great fund with, look at these performances, 12.33 past year, 21.35% in the past 3 years, in the past 5 years, 60% up, then I really can't understand why there is only 5 million invested in this fund. It is already around for over 7 years, so it's incredible that there is only 5 million in this fund. The dividend yield, it's 2%. 2 dividends being paid out every year in January and in July. And these were the last dividends. So the last one was actually this year in January, the 4th of January. So actually it was the second trading day, I think. Yeah, the second trading day on the SIX stock exchange that they provided the dividend. And then we can go to the LDEG. So the LNG Quality Equity Dividends ESG Exclusion Europe ex UK ETF. So here it is important that you see that it's ex UK. Almost all the other funds that I'm mentioning are also ex UK, but in this one it's explicitly in the name. And the total expense ratio is 0.25%. My wife and I, we are invested in this one, so I'm a bit, how do you say it, involved in this ETF, because we put money towards this one. It's noted on the 6 in Swiss francs, and it's invested in 133 European companies, 25 million only invested in it, and it's a sampling ETF. It's not around for a long time already, so only since 2021, and on the 6 it's only recently starting to trade. I think it's started in the first half of 2023. So this fund, it exists for longer, but on the SIX stock exchange it's only present for a bit over half a year. So the past year it's up 11.8% in euros, and it pays out quarterly with a dividend yield of 4.40%. And here you can see the last distributions of this fund. So the next dividend for my wife and I, we can expect that in March. Then another fund where my wife and I put money towards, that's the FLXD, and that one includes UK companies. So that's really important. That's why we invest in 2 European ETFs, because with this one we also include the major UK companies that pay quality dividends, and my wife and I, we like that. So yeah, I think it's also important that you know that we invest in it, but it's not financial advice. It's only an overview of all the other ETFs, and okay, it includes the ones that we invest in as well, but it's only to give an impression of all the ETFs that are around in Europe, in which you can invest money towards European companies. So 50 holdings in this one, not 133 like in the LDEG one, and almost triple as much money invested into this one, so 73 million, a fully replicated one, and a performance of 9.3% in the first year, and in the past 5 years 44.43%, and a dividend yield of 4.92%, which is being paid out quarterly, with these ones being the last distributions. And once again, my wife and I, we can expect the first dividend for this fund in 2024 in March. Then we have one that is noted on the Xetra, the PR1E. So that's a 1. It's a bit, the font is a bit off, but when you look at the easing code, you will find this one for sure. It's a Amundi fund, and it's noted on the Xetra in euro. There are 444 companies in this one, 45 million invested in it, fully replicated one, and the performance almost 5% in the past year, and the past 3 years almost 31% up. And the dividend yield, it's 2.90%, and there is only one distribution in the year. So once again, from Amundi, they normally paid out in November, but this year, the past year, it was on the 12th of December, and for almost 1 month leading up to the 12th of December, on just ETF there was dividend yield 0. So yeah, as you know, go to the site of Amundi, look up your fund, look at the planned distributions, and you will see that there is going to be a distribution. So no need to panic when you don't immediately see on the normal date, so normally in November, that there is no dividend. No worries. Go and look and check at Amundi whether or not there is going to be a payment. And as you saw, on the 12th of December there was one. So then we have the SPDR EUDV fund with the total expense ratio of 0.30, Irish based, and it's Aristocrats. So as you know, I mentioned in the beginning of the video, Aristocrats is also more or less a reference to quality. So the quality stocks that are in it, because the dividend is pretty much being paid out on a regular basis for over 15 years for the companies that are in it. It's noted in Swiss francs on the 6. There are 39 companies in it, so as you can see, there are not that many Aristocrats in Europe, but almost 1 billion invested in it, so that's rather nice. And then here you can see the performance. So the past year up 11.5%, the past 3 years almost 20%, and the past 5 years almost 25%. They give out half yearly dividends with a dividend yield of 3.27% in total, and these were the last distributions last year. So here is then the overview of the ETFs that I discussed in this video, and you can see, yeah, the EGRW with only 5 million invested in it, it's ranked on the second place here. So it's actually just trailing the FEUI fund, so not that bad. And then in the middle, the two funds that my wife and I invest in. So you see, they are not the best ones that I'm presenting today, and still my wife and I, we are pretty happy that we invest in those. So it all depends on yourself and how you investigate your ETFs, how you which, how do you say it, which importance you put towards the dividend yield, the performances, the total expense ratio. So we had here 0.25, the PR1E, the 0.05. That's the cheapest one around, but over the 3-year performance, you would say, okay, it's pretty good, but then the past year, it's actually underperforming all the other ones. So yeah, some people will say 30.96 over 3 years, it's the best one and the lowest total expense ratio. I'm going to pick that one. No worries, you are totally fine. I'm just giving an overview with all the numbers, giving you the option to look them up further with the easing codes and the different ticker symbols on the different European stock markets. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, that you consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Hitting that like button helps the channel out as well. And thank you for watching, and see you on the next video on my YouTube channel. Bye!